Saludos amigos de YouTube, soy Kiosite Gaming, bienvenidos a un nuevo vídeo más del canal, bienvenidos a un nuevo capítulo de este juego Vampyr. Espero que os esté gustando, la verdad es que es bastante entretenido. Como siempre deciros que es la historia de Jonathan Wright, un doctor que fue convertido en vampiro y que tenemos que buscar respuestas del por qué nos convirtieron. Y se basa, como ya lo dije en el primer episodio, por si hay alguien nuevo que lo está a ver ahora, se basa en las decisiones que tomamos. Según las decisiones que tomemos, pasará una cosa u otra. Así que nada, lo que teníamos que hacer es empezar a preguntar a los doctores. Querido Jonathan, mensaje de la doctora Swansea. Le he pedido a la enfermera Crane que prepare un despacho para usted en la segunda planta. Por favor, disculpe a usted la decoración, pero el hospital Pembroke no es precisamente el right. Siento que tenga que conocer solo su despacho, pero debo descansar un poco antes de seguir con mi trabajo. Al fin y al cabo, no soy más que una simple mortal. Bueno, esto es la carta, lo que nos dijo en el capítulo anterior, que teníamos ya nuestro despacho, nuestro refugio. Y tenemos dos misiones. Turno de noche, llevar los medicamentos a Dorothy Crane en la habitación del paciente. Y medianos en el jardín del bien y del mal. Devuelve la cartera a su propietario. Vamos a ver. Esto es sede interna. Llévame a un hospital, ¿vale? Estas son las dos misiones que de momento hemos superado. Y estamos aprendiendo a vivir entre los mortales. ¿Vale? Y aquí tenemos pues cada uno de los personajes que hasta el momento hemos hablado con ellos. Y tenemos que investigar más para conseguir pues más detalles, más pruebas. A ver, un momento. Vale, hay investigaciones. Vale, este es el de la cartera. Y aquí tenemos otra que es más dura de la calle. Interroga a Whitney Brannagan sobre la negligencia médica. Interroga a Corcoran Tippers sobre la negligencia médica. Así que vamos a empezar a interrogar a la gente para conseguir más pistas y a buscar, como no, más loot para mejorar lo que son el tema de las armas y el tema del personaje. Y lo dicho, espero que os esté gustando el juego y como siempre que lo apoyéis con un buen like, siempre se agradece. Y que si no estáis suscritos al canal, pues os suscribáis. Vale, todo esto está cerrado. Así que nada, vamos a buscar a la gente del hospital. Allí tenemos... A ver, vamos a hablar.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Vale, Pippa Hawkins. Quiero quitarlo de los sentidos, pero no me deja quitarlo hasta que no acabe de pasar. A ver, un momento.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Vale, ahora se ha quitado, ahora podemos hablar otra vez.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
A ver, su vida en Londres. ¿Cómo está la situación por aquí?
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
La gripe española se acaba en algún momento.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Debe ser duro trabajar en un hospital y solo ver gente llegar y gente morir. O sea, debe ser muy duro. ¿Hace cuánto es enfermero?
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
Le sorprendería... Tiene razón.
You're right. When dealing with such a terrible disease, one must remain humble. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try our best.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
¿Cómo lo lleva el equipo?
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
¿Por qué Milton es tan gruñón?
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
¿Por qué los médicos en concreto?
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Vale, pues ahora cuando encontremos a Milton le preguntaremos. A ver, su vida en Londres. Le hemos preguntado todo y preguntas personales. Necesitamos pistas, ¿vale? Pues cuando encontremos
Goodbye,
pistas,
Miss Hawkins.
volveremos a hablar con la enfermera Hawkins. Vale, aquí hay más gente.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Es una vampira, dice. A ver, su vida en Londres. Es un vampiro.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Descríbame los síntomas.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of pustulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
¿Ha oído hablar del síndrome de Corta?
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a
Un
French
síndrome mental que en
neurologist
realidad se
named
creen
Jean
que
Cotard.
son cosas que no
The
son.
affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty.
Vale, tenemos una nueva pista. Thelma sufre el síndrome de Cotard, uy, que no sé ni leería. Cotard, y se cree un vampiro. Vale. Y como vemos aquí, luego iremos a preguntar a este, porque tiene algún parentesco con Thelma.
You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Vale. Es paciente.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
¿Sus enemigos?
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
Cuidaremos de usted.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Nueva investigación.
Do you require my services, Miss Howcroft?
I have no need for your medicine, Dr. Reed. Blood is the only drug I need.
Está muy mal la tía esta. ¿Quién es en realidad?
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
It was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
Este está muy mal. Vale, su vida en Londres creo que lo hemos preguntado todo. Creo que también
I'm
hemos
assuming
preguntado
you
todo
must
esto.
be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can
Vale,
leave
esto lo hemos
whenever I want.
preguntado antes ya.
As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Vale.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
I wish I could be sick again. Feel my blood
Bueno, la
boil
tía
with
está un
fever.
poquito mal y este era el compañero de ella.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
Su vida en Londres. ¿Cómo va su estancia?
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
¿Quién lo está tratando?
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by it.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
¿Puedo hacer algo?
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
A ver, ¿el verdadero motivo de su herida?
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
¿Qué ocurrió realmente?
Tell me what really happened then.
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to burn.
¿Y el porqué de la mentira?
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
La belleza no lo es todo.
Beauty is not everything, Mr. Elwood.
Says Mr. Pretty Face.
Vale, error de pista. Nos hemos equivocado ahí. Así que ya os digo que hay que tener mucho cuidado con lo que preguntaros. Sirvió durante mucho tiempo, ya sabemos que es
Where were you
mentira,
stationed,
pero...
sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
Básicamente no luchamos en la misma guerra porque él se quemó en un puticlub hablando mal, un prostíbulo.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
I'm fine. Just do something for this pain, will you? That's all I'm asking.
Soy la enfermera, la señora Hot.
How close are you to Miss Horcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
Vamos, que está aquí para que la otra le muerda. Si hubiéramos desbloqueado esta, No sé si habría alguna forma de conseguir otra vez. ¿La deja que la muerda?
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of me blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
And it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
Tiene una enfermedad mental.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
Vale, pues aquí no nos va a dejar preguntar nada más. Nos falta una pista.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Lo que no sé si esta podremos preguntarle ahora que sabemos que le muerde.
How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Hablan de Thomas Elwood.
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Mr. Elwood? Why him?
I'm not sure, Doctor. I think we have a bond of some sort. We've both suffered so much. He's the only mortal I find interesting.
¿Están involucrados sentimentalmente?
Would you say you and Mr. Elwood are romantically involved?
No. No, Thomas is a delicate soul. Even though he disguises it. But I am not the woman he needs. No, for I am a vampire, Doctor.
¿Tiene intención de convertirlo en vampiro?
Do you plan to make him a vampire too?
Of course not. How could I inflict my curse on anybody else? I'm not that cruel, Doctor.
Vale, pues de momento ya no podemos hablar más con ella.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
I wonder what your last thoughts would be, sir.
Vamos a seguir buscando a la gente. Prevenga la enfermedad, escupir, estornudar o toser, ayuda a propagar la gripe, los ruidos nasales o culturales promueven el contagio. No tosa en público. Y yo acabo de toser. Menos mal que hay una cámara delante. Vale, aquí hay otro.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
A ver, su vida en Londres. Hábleme de usted.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
Háblame de sus experimentos.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical.
Vale. Hemos desbloqueado una pista.
You may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me. But I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
¿Qué le hizo decantarse por ese itinerario?
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
Estaré encantado de ayudarlo.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
Vale. Sobre el hospital de Pembroke.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
Parece bastante optimista.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
¿Necesita ayuda?
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Nueva investigación.
Do you need my medical attention, dear colleague?
You don't have to worry about me, Dr. Reed. I am here to assist you, not to be a burden.
A ver. Sobre el hospital de Pembroke, creo que hemos
What can you
preguntado todo.
tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood
Está
transfusion.
contando otra vez lo mismo. Preguntas personales. Como hemos desbloqueado una pista sobre su técnica de transfusión de sangre.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Cuénteme la historia del señor Fiddick.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Vale. Ya tenemos un parentesco, Harvey Fiddick. Así que habrá que hablar con él. Debe ser
This
imparcial.
personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior, a man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones and flesh.
Vale. Creo que ya hemos preguntado todo. Sí. Así que nada.
Goodbye,
Adiós.
Dr. Strickland.
Vale, y el paciente tiene que estar por aquí dentro. Con este no podemos hablar. Vale, aquí hay otro.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated
Este se merece un
dabblers.
bocado ya. ¿Tienen un problema conmigo?
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Los celos no le harán ningún bien.
Aren't you too old for such jealousy? It really won't do you any good, you know.
Don't be ridiculous, Dr. Reed. A simple glance is enough for me to know you have nothing for me to envy.
Sobre el hospital de
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Este se merece un bocado, Se merece un bocado, pero ya.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
Porque debe hacerse cargo de su intervención.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
Asumirá las consecuencias.
If you are going to lead this surgery, I'm trusting you to assume the consequences of your actions, whatever the result.
I'm not the kind of man who runs away from his responsibilities, Dr. Reed. There is no need for you to be looking over my shoulder.
Esta rivalidad influye en su prestigio.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Este tío, por lo que se ve, es un prepotente que flipas. A ver. Ha demostrado mis habilidades profesionales. Mal recuerdo en un servicio militar.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd.
Ha demostrado mis habilidades profesionales.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
Salvando muchas
This
vidas.
is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
Vale, pues este tío se merece que no lo comamos.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
A ver, vamos a hablar con el paciente. Con Piti.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Su vida en Londres. Hábleme de usted.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Los médicos discuten su caso.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Sobre el hospital.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable, And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies.
Preguntas personales. ¿Por qué siente culpable de su herida?
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
Vale. Hemos desbloqueado otra pista. Su mujer murió por su culpa.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
¿Se lastimó a propósito?
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Están todos enfadados sobre la muerte de su esposo.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
Fueron muchas víctimas de los bombarderos.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
¿Cómo están sus hijos?
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Vale. Nos falta una pista requerida. Vale, lo hemos preguntado todo ya, creo. Vale.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Vale, aquí tenemos una carta incompleta. Bueno, aquí lo dejo para que lo leáis. Es una carta de él a sus hijos. Vale. Tenemos la alianza del que matamos. Vale. Tenemos las tres pistas. Entonces igual podemos volver a hablar con él. Porque hemos visto
Good
la
evening,
carta.
Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Preguntas personales. Parece preocupado por su familia.
You seem worried about the safety of your family. And it's obviously the reason why your wound troubles you so much.
I cannot give up on my children now. They both need me living.
What about their mother, if I may ask?
She died in 1915 during one of the first Zeppelin raids. We never found her body.
Vale.
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
I'm all right. Considering the state of this place, I should consider myself lucky, I guess.
Creo que ya está todo. Ahora sí.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Frasco de vidrio. Y ahora que hemos descubierto... Mira, aquí tenemos la enfermera, pero ahora que hemos descubierto...
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any
Y hemos
help?
hablado con otro doctor. Vale. Esta ya la hemos hecho. La versión de Acro por los métodos modernos.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Pues bueno, pues... En
Goodbye,
principio,
Dr. Strickland.
tiene una envidia del otro.
You always knew the words to
Y a ver este ahora que nos dice.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Este es tonto, de verdad. A este no lo comeremos.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Vale.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Finally, you've returned, Doctor. Did you find anything of value?
Yes, nurse.
You've worked your first miracle, Doctor. Now, this patient here needs immediate treatment.
Duty calls? When the storm has passed, I'll show you how to mix the remedy yourself with the same basic ingredients.
Many thanks, Doctor. When you finished, you ought to report to Dr. Swansea in his office. He's been looking for you. Seemed pressing.
Enfermedades. Las enfermedades empeoran a la calidad de la sangre de un ciudadano. Usa la medicina adecuada para curarlos. Habla con el paciente de la habitación que hay detrás de Dorothy para comprobar su estado de salud. Vale. La actualización de la misión. Vale, antes de hablar con él, vamos a ver si hay algo para coger. Vale, vamos a hablar primero con esta persona, si podemos hablar. Sí.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
A ver, su vida en Londres. Hábleme de usted.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
¿A qué se dedica?
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
¿Tanto dinero tiene?
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
¿Se queja de cómo la recibieron?
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's...
Vale, el hijo es el que está en la cama. Pero bueno, hemos dado con una
Some of the
pista.
staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Háblame de su llegada.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
¿Le cobró?
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
Comparto su estupor.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Vale, pues hemos desbloqueado una pista sobre Pipa y el conductor de la ambulancia que aún no hemos hablado. Vale. Vale, y ya está.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Vale, antes de seguir con la misión principal, vamos a hablar con... ¿Esta es Pipa?
Dr. Reed, may I help you?
No. A ver... ¿Cuánto tiempo lleva aquí?
For how long have you been working here, Nurse Crane?
I first volunteered at the Pembroke in 1911, a few months after Dr. Swansea was appointed.
And before you arrived here?
If you must know, this was my first job.
¿Es usted el responsable?
Well, Dr. Swansea certainly has confidence in your abilities. Are you in charge of the nursing staff?
Not in an official capacity, but the Pembroke doesn't always work above board, so to speak.
Por lo que se ve es un hospital un poco clandestino. ¿Cómo se organiza el trabajo?
How is the duty roster organized?
Everybody works until they can't. If there's time, they'll eat a meal and shed a silent tear.
¿Qué hay de los protocolos clínicos?
What about medical protocols?
Dr. Reed, we don't have the money and resources here at the Pembroke like they do in the West End. We do what we can.
Vale, preguntas personales sobre los pacientes.
What can you tell me about our patients here at Pembroke?
This hospital was founded to help the East End poor and needy. But since the war and the quarantine, we've had all manner of folk.
Can you be more specific?
Well, veterans, the elderly, dock workers. We even have a few mental patients. If there's space, we take them.
Sobre la epidemia.
What can you tell me about the epidemic, Nurse Crane? I've been out of touch since I've come back to England.
Everyday folk don't know how bad it is. The papers certainly won't tell them. Not as long as the war is raging on, anyway.
News on the front stated that the Spanish flu was under control, at least in Britain.
It seemed to be for a while, but that was only last summer. It returned with a vengeance just over a month ago.
Vale.
I'll see you later, Nurse Crane.
Ya sabéis que este episodio pues es básicamente de preguntar, preguntar y preguntar porque necesitamos bastante información. Filtración de sangre. No olvides que la sangre de un ciudadano te proporcionará un impulso masivo de experiencia. Busca ciudadanos con un nivel igual o inferior a tu nivel de cautivar y elige sabiamente. Vale. De momento el doctor ese es el que me ha caído mal. Y nos falta gente por interrogar aún. Vale, botella pequeña. Mira, aquí está.
Good
Otra
evening,
doctora.
nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
A ver, vamos a empezar por su vida en Londres. ¿Cómo es la situación aquí?
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
El enemigo invisible.
An invisible enemy. Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
¿El hospital se mantendrá firme?
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
Vale, hábleme del
I'm
equipo.
not familiar with all the
Así nos
staff.
contará
here.
cositas.
Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
A ver. ¿Hay alguien que destaque?
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippets. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Vale. Hemos desbloqueado una pista sobre este doctor. A ver, hable.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Vale, pues esto no nos va a contar mucho. A ver, la negligencia de Tippett, que fue el que en el capítulo anterior
Tell me
vimos que había
what
matado a un
Dr.
paciente.
Tippets did. I know his mistake caused a patient's death.
If I had not covered up his error, Dr. Tippets would have been fired from this hospital. I could not let that happen.
You can't allow your emotions to dictate your conduct concerning patients, Nurse Brannigan.
Look around you, Dr. Reed. Do you really think we can afford to lose a brilliant practitioner like Dr. Tippets in our situation?
Vale, esta le tapó la negligencia que hizo el doctor Tippett. A ver, asumió gran riesgo.
Perhaps you did it with the best intentions, Nurse Brannigan, but you took a great risk. Must I remind you that a man died?
You mean you've never made a mistake? Never covered your tracks? Come on, Doctor. I wasn't born yesterday.
Es más dura que la caída. Investigación actualizada. Están todos...
Do you require medical assistance, nurse?
Thank you for your concern, but I'm fine.
A ver... Aquí no podemos preguntarle nada más. Y aquí tampoco. Vale, pues
Goodbye,
adiós.
nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
O sea que en este hospital, entre las envidias y que unos se tapan a otros cuando la cagan, vaya hospital.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us.
Este
I
es el
can't
doctor.
think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
A ver. ¿Cómo está la situación aquí?
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
Es igual en todas partes.
It's not exactly the best situation in London either. I can't have expected this hospital to be prepared for what was to come.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
Está
What can you
agotado,
tell
¿sabes?
me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
¿Positivos?
Tell me more about cherished people then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skill.
Estos dos tienen algún círculo social con marca allí un poco raro.
I'll go even further.
Y se nos hace desbloquear otra pista sobre ella.
If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
¿Qué hay de la gestión?
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office down again.
Vale, está agotado.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No, we must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
La enfermera Brannigan está preocupada. Está siendo irresponsable. No tiene nada que demostrar. Vale, voy a poner la
Nurse
enfermera.
Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Me parece que... A ver, vamos a preguntarle sobre la negligencia médica.
Corcoran, I want you to tell me about Mr. Connor. How did he die? What happened?
He was my patient. He died because of my mistake. That's
Por lo
the
menos en
blunt
sincero.
truth.
¿Quién era?
Who was this patient?
I don't know. Some sick man from the docks. Maybe a fisherman. I had no time to talk with him. No one claimed a body.
¿Cuál fue el origen del error?
What was the nature of the mistake?
It was a twofold error. My diagnosis was wrong, and the administered dosage was too strong.
¿Por qué no deja de ejercer?
Why not stop practicing?
Are you mad? I killed that man, I admit it, and it won't happen again. I have saved so many lives since then.
A ver... Yo lo encubriré. A ver...
I will cover for you, Dr. Tippett, by keeping what happened to Mr. Connor to myself.
I don't know what to say, actually. I can't exactly force you to become my accomplice.
You didn't force me. This is my decision to make. I believe you're still of use to the hospital, considering the situation.
Then I can make you this promise. As soon as the epidemic is eradicated, I will resign.
Vale, hemos ganado 100 chelines.
Do you need any medical assistance yourself, Doctor?
Come on, don't be ridiculous, dear colleague.
Vale, pues con este creo que ya hemos acabado. Que hará tras su renuncia.
What will you do after your resignation? Do you have a plan?
I always fancied visiting Cyprus. Such a beautiful island. I could buy a house there, by the sea. Read poetry and wait for death.
Vale, pues creo que ya no vamos a preguntarle nada más.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Bueno, pues gracias a la promesa que le hemos hecho, va a dimitir. Y aquí tenemos a otro.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed.
Este se parece al de la foto que vimos el otro
the
día.
ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
Este es
That's
Milton,
quite a blunt introduction, Mr.
el
Hook.
que está con
You can
Piper.
call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
Vale, a este es el que hay que devolver la cartera. Pero bueno, vamos a empezar a preguntarle.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
¿Cuál es su función aquí?
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Suena como si lo hubiese pasado mal.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital? That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
¿Cuál es la situación
Since you're
sanitaria?
on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
¿Trafica con armas?
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
Su reputación mediocre.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
Vale, vamos a preguntarle por la... ¿No nos deja? Bueno, pues voy a decirle que he encontrado su
I
cartera.
have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet, with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please.
Vale.
Take this money anyway.
Entonces ya se supone que son pareja y podremos hablar con ella.
Mind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
Preguntas personales creo que me podía preguntar. A ver, su relación con la enfermera Hawkins.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
Le suena la desesperación.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
Podrían despedirlos.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
Yo digo que parece esto, en vez de un hospital... A ver, hagamos un trato.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Vale. Aquí tenemos cosas para comprar. Escopeta de Milton. Balas. Puñadura. Esto nos hace falta. Nos pide 32 chelines, tenemos 301. Vamos a comprar. Para luego, para el tema de mejorar el arma. Esquila de aluminio, no. Pieza puñadura corriente miniatura. 32 chelines. Y puñadura corriente, 32 chelines. Y le podemos vender nosotros. Vale, pues no tenemos nada para vender porque... Bueno, si tenemos tratamientos. Valor de reventa medio. A ver, podemos vender un anillo por 17 chelines. La verdad es que tampoco tenemos mucho que vender. Todo esto que hemos comprado sí. Pero bueno, de momento no vamos a vender nada. Pues seguramente nos hará falta más adelante. Vale. Pues creo que ya hemos hablado con todos. Hemos descubierto bastantes pistas. Hemos descubierto las relaciones que tienen entre ellos. Y supongo que ahora hablando con la enfermera... Vale, con este hemos hablado. Vale, aquí tenemos al que salvamos en el capítulo anterior.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious,
En la
perhaps.
situación que
But
estaba
who
con
wouldn't
el
be
vampiro.
after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
A ver, su vida en Londres. ¿Cómo acabó en la guarida de Williams Bishop?
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Porque lo sugesto.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
Señorita Craft. Usted es un héroe o muy estúpido.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
Vale.
What
¿Cuál
is
es la
the
situación?
general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the Dockers trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
¿Quién dirige ahora la banda?
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Vale, perdieron al líder porque lo asesinamos nosotros.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Sobre Tom Watts.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
Corrupción.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
Desesperación.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Vale, pues con ella no podemos hablar mucho más. Preguntas personales. ¿A qué se dedica?
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
¿Es usted sacerdote?
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
¿Por qué no utiliza la cruz contra William cuando la ataca?
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
No posee poderes mágicos, pues a nosotros hemos visto alguna que sí nos echaba para atrás. ¿Antes la amistad con alguien desde su llegada?
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
¿Cómo se encuentra?
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Vale, pues en principio
Goodbye, Mr.
ya
Hampton.
nos puede contar nada más.
We'll talk again later.
Vamos a ver qué hay por aquí, si se puede coger algo.
It's locked.
Bueno, la puerta está cerrada.
I wonder why the Goswicks came here.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Y ahora podemos preguntarle preguntas personales. A ver, que nos dé. Vale, su relación con Milton Hooks.
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes, Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Vale, pues ya no me deja preguntar nada
Goodbye, Nurse
más.
Hawkins.
Y bueno, en principio nos queda la misión Una rata en hospital. Habla con el Dr. Swansea. Que en principio... Vale, nos quedaría hablar... No, estos son los médicos. Por ahí salimos. Está en la misma habitación que antes. Ahí, por aquí salimos a la calle. Ver si hay algo para coger por aquí. pues tenemos 910 puntos de experiencia. Así que como llevamos 1 hora y 5 minutos de capítulo, 3 tornillos, o sea, 5 tornillos. Sé que este capítulo igual no ha habido mucha acción, pero bueno, es lo que hay, porque había que sacar mucha información, preguntar, para saber si averiguábamos cosas sobre lo que nos ha pasado. Pero bueno, hemos averiguado muchas cosas sobre la relación que tienen cada personaje entre ellos. Así que hemos adelantado bastante con la información. Y en el siguiente capítulo tenemos que ir al despacho del doctor Edgar. Que en realidad no sé dónde está, habrá que buscarlo. ¿Será este? No. Triple Siglen Jacob. Vale, este tienen para 3. Y este es el nuestro. Así que antes de terminar el vídeo, vamos a dormir para que guarde y a mejorar puntos. Tenemos 910 puntos. Aumenta la energía, aumenta tu capacidad de sangre. Vale, este ya tenemos 2 aumentados, el siguiente son 600. Y de este no hemos sed incondicional. Aumenta la absorción de sangre al usar mordedura en combate. Este sí que nos interesa porque cuando combatimos, para recuperar sangre nos va a venir perfecto. Y si podemos hacer otro, son 300 más. Así que vamos a... Vale, y nos quedan 310. Este ya son 600. Así que podemos mejorar algunas tácticas o algo. Vale, este nos pide 500. 5 energía en subida por segundo al andar. A ver... Son 500 también. Defensivas. Serán 500 también. 600. Y la siguiente son... 600. Vale. Este de aquí, a ver qué es. 1000. Autofagia. ¿Cuánto nos pide? Teníamos ya una. Nos pide 1300. Es por gastar los puntos, por saber en qué podemos gastarlo. Mordedura, mira, podemos desbloquear este que no hemos desbloqueado aún, que son 300 creo. Así ya tenemos la primera. Perfecto, y nos quedamos con 10 puntos. Vamos a confirmar. Y dormimos. Y antes de terminar, lo que me gustaría también... Investigación superada a medianoche en el jardín. Perfecto. ¿Dónde estaba la mesa para...? La planta esta siempre nos dice que la miremos. Siempre nos dice que necesita agua. Vamos a ver si podemos fabricar... En el tema de las armas, si podemos mejorar algo. A ver, vamos a ver el hacha. Podemos mejorarla a nivel 2, así que vamos a mejorar el hacha, que es lo que estamos utilizando ahora. Y ya tiene 85 de daño. Vale. El cuchillo creo que no podemos mejorar más, ¿no? Este, por lo que hemos gastado creo que tampoco. Y la estaca podemos mejorarla. No. Y lo de succionar sangre tampoco. Nos haría falta comprar más. Y nos falta las piezas de gatillo que las hemos gastado en el otro. Pues nada, en principio no podemos mejorar nada más. Por aquí podemos salir. Sí, por aquí podemos bajar y salir a la calle directamente. Pero bueno, como os he dicho, como llevamos 1 hora y 8 minutos, vamos a dejar este episodio por aquí. Como siempre, espero que os esté gustando la serie, que os esté gustando este juego, las aventuras de Jonathan Reid, de este gran doctor, buena persona que está averiguando por qué lo han convertido en vampiro. Así que nada, amigos, como siempre deciros que si no estáis suscritos en el canal, suscribiros, que os aconsejo activar la campanita para que YouTube os notifique cada vez que subo un vídeo, dale a que el vídeo te ha gustado, compártelo y nos vemos en el siguiente vídeo, amigos. Chao, chao.
Take a slide, find your zone every day.